Thanks for checking out my micro drawings channel. Here I'm starting with a quarter, a pencil, and my Copic 0.03 multi-liner black pen for scale. And today I'm drawing Snoopy and his little buddy Woodstock and some watermelon. And nice summer activity heading into the weekend here. So in this case, I'm starting with watermelon. I wanted to kind of establish the size of the drawing with that. So I've got Snoopy's watermelon, started with the top line of that, and then I'm adding Snoopy's little hands or paws. And again, I'm using that Copic multi-liner 0.03. And then I went to Snoopy's nose. There's a little black dot for his nose and an eye, and worked around to his ears, or his ear, and then added the other eye in there. So I've got it pretty established now what's going on. From that, I'm going to work down on Snoopy's body. Just kind of lightly going at it there to establish where I want things. There's the bottom of his feet or his paws. And there's his little tail. And thinking about where I'm going to put Woodstock. So while I'm doing that, I'm adding a little grass, some blades of grass. And Woodstock ends up being pretty small. Sometimes when I draw Snoopy and Woodstock together, Woodstock gets a little bigger than I want him to be, just because he's so tiny. So to fit the detail in there, sometimes he just becomes a little bigger than he should be. I think this time I kept the scale pretty good as far as, you know, how he actually shows up when he's with Snoopy. So he's pretty darn tiny. His little piece of watermelon's pretty tiny. And that got me thinking, they must have had some little watermelons for Woodstock, but I suppose that can happen. So he took the runt of the watermelon litter. So he's got his, in his, what would you call, I suppose wings, hands. So there's little Woodstock, there's Snoopy, there's the pencil. You can see that eraser and the metal coupler or whatever that keeps the eraser onto the pencil easily covers them up. So pretty small little micro drawing here. There's the quarter for reference, or scale as well. Again, thanks for checking out the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. That way you get updates on all the different subject matter that I'm drawing. I did zoom in here because this is a pretty small one, so I wanted you to be able to see when I add the actual color. There's little Woodstock. I've got the Copic sketch marker. Sorry, I'm using the fine tip point in this case, and I'm barely touching it. There's not much to Woodstock. You know, his nose and his little tuft of feathers or hair on the back of his head, and that's about it. His little feet and his tail laying in the grass. But man, I just had to lightly touch it. And then there I needed to add the bottom, I suppose the outside, the rind, I think that's called, or the outside of the watermelon. I forgot to add that before, so that's what I was adding in there. So there's the red of Snoopy's watermelon piece. And I work up, I rotate the paper around so I can work that fine tip right up to the black line. I actually leave it a little short because I've got a pretty good feel for how much these bleed. And I don't hold them long, but I know they're going to bleed a little bit so they can go right up to the line for me. So there's both of their watermelon pieces colored, and there's some grass going into the foreground, or some green color going on the grass. Just thought I'd give a little more to the scene. And again, here's a quarter for reference. And I'm zooming back out. I'm doing a little more zooming here, trying to improve my camera skills. There's zoomed out a little bit more again, the quarter for scale. And there I am putting the green rind on the watermelon. And there's not much there. It's just a teeny little sliver. Again, these are Copic sketch markers. I'm using the fine tip end. And there I'm just adding some more blades of grass. It looked a little blah, so I thought I'd throw some more. And there's the date, 7/17/20. Hope you enjoyed watching me create this. Thanks again for visiting. And there he is with the quarter. And I zoomed out to let you see the size a little bit better. There's a pencil, and of course my hands for scale. Thanks a lot.